Hi, this is Ken. Today we're going to be getting into something that's very practical, and it's going to be coding. This is going to be the second video on coding, and I've put out another video that explained a little bit about why coding can be beneficial to a UX designer. So my name is Ken, and this is Mastering UX. Okay, so like I said, coding can be very beneficial to a UX designer. If you're not interested in coding, feel free to stay tuned to the other episodes which are related to design, research, and UX strategy. I won't be offended if you turn the video off right now. But what I did want to present to you is that getting started with coding is not that hard. And so this video is really here to tell you that if you really just learn 3 tools and got a little bit of mastery, maybe spending a week on each tool, I really think you could have your foot in the door with beginning to code a few simple things. So those 3 tools that I think that you should get into are, one, and that is you want to have some kind of inspector. I'm going to show you what an inspector is, and it's built into your browser. The second tool that you're going to want to have is you're going to want to have some kind of code editor, and particularly one code editor that's good for HTML and CSS. And my particular preference is VS Code. The third tool that you're going to want to have is you're going to want to have some HTML, CSS front-end framework. And what that is, that's basically standing upon the code of someone else's kind of library to kind of scaffold you up, to give you a higher plane and being able to build off a library of code so that you can focus a little bit more on customizing things rather than having to originate everything from scratch. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, so the first tool is Inspector. So here you go. Right now you see on the right side, this is Inspector, and I'm in Google Chrome right now. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down so you can kind of see. So if you have Google Chrome, Firefox also has, I think it's a plugin that you do need to install, but it's called Firebug. And I even believe Microsoft Edge and a lot of these different browsers, they have some kind of tool that's available, some inspector. So let's say you're working on this website and you're just thinking, wow, why is that font so big? I actually set it at 26 pixels, and I don't expect it to be that big. Well, if you right click over here, you're able to hit inspect. And what that's going to do is that's going to take me to the HTML of that portion. And so now I'm able to also see over here in the styles that it's got a font size of 1.75 rem. What this tells me is that the most specific class applied to this particular header, this H3 tag over here, is 1 point size relative to the root element. Well, that's also a little bit a problem because I don't know what the root element is. And so I can even go further and click on this computed tab. And what this tells me is that the calculated end result of all the styles that have been applied to this is going to be 35 pixels, and it tells me that there are various styles that kind of get cascaded up and it arrives to a 35 pixels, and that's the final font that this ends up as. So again, Inspector is a very great tool. Now imagine you're in an environment where you're doing some QA testing, or someone has built out your sketch file and you just feel things are a little bit off. Well, you're able to go in here and kind of say, well, I feel like the margins are off. Let me go ahead and inspect right here. And let's go ahead and hit this section right here. And you see that yellow portion. And this tells me that the padding is 60 pixels right there. That's a tremendous tool. Or let's just say I'm kind of a little bit leery about the color of that button, feel that can't be the right button color. And so I'm able to go ahead and look over here and look at the border color, see that it's RGB of 66, 255, 255. Go ahead and hit over styles over here. And I got the hexadecimal. It says 442 and then 4Fs, F, 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 F. And I'm able to see all these different things. But keep in mind, this may not be the actual radius, right? You still want to come over into this calculated portion, and this will tell me that it's 5 pixels. You don't really need to be able to write all this. You just need to be able to look it up to be able to inform that the quality of the code doesn't match the specifications of what was designed. Okay, so that's inspector, very important. Google Chrome is a great inspector, but to my knowledge, all the inspectors can do many of the same things. Another thing I wanted to show you, let's say you're on Amazon.com. And let's go ahead and say, okay, I'm interested in this page, and I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to hit inspect. So over here, you see there's all this HTML, CSS. What I want you to realize is when I hit view source, all this code has a lot of JavaScript, and JavaScript creates HTML that's visible to the browser, but it's not visible in the file. So that JavaScript might have conditional statements, if this, then show this block of HTML, if that, fill up this kind of certain label to be this and not that. And so when I come over to Amazon.com, I'm able to see the end result of what's produced. And ultimately, if I'm to be working with a developer, I don't really care how it's done. I don't need to get into this level of JavaScript. I just need to know to be able to look at it and just to see that the end result is not what we want to get. Okay, so that is the first tool, inspector. I listed it first because even if you're not a coder, this tool can help you in your daily job, even if you do 0 lines of code. Okay, now once you decide to get a little bit into coding, there's a tool. It's called VS Code. VS Code is it's very good. Again, you don't need to use this particular tool. Some of the reasons why I like this tool, I like out of the box. I like the kind of color coding system I like on there. I like that it kind of separates, and I can see more clearly that the attributes in here are a certain color. The attribute kind of designator right here is in a certain color. I'm able to kind of go over here and say, yeah, that's that part in this very long page. There's a problem over here. I see that it's highlighted. So I like that. Some of the things that I also like about this tool are, let's say I'm, putting in an image, and I type in img, and then I type in, there's the image that I'm looking for. So because I typed in a certain directory, it's able to look in that entire directory, and then I'm able to even go further and say, I know it's in portfolio large. Let's see, what number was it? Come down. Okay, yeah, that's right. It's 42 pixels. Okay, that is something that is very helpful for me. Let me give you another instance right here. So let's say there's a button, and I remember there's a certain class that I want. Can't remember it quite so quick, and I want UK navbar, or I want UK width of 1/3. So what it's doing is it's looking at all the CSS files here. One of the files is from a CSS framework, and I'm going to get into that next. It's called UIKit. And so VS Code is able to kind of look into all those CSSs and then begin to auto-populate with some things that I'm looking for very intelligently. So basically, it's less brain bandwidth that I need, and it's more that the tool is doing for me so I can be able to focus on other things. It has a very powerful search. I could do a search and replace here. If I type in photo, which this is a photo website, I'm able to see all this. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay. I'm also able to do a search and replace. It hooks up into GitHub. It has extensions, and just recently I was just curious if they'd have something on Korean, and apparently there is. I'm able to install those packs. So it's got a very robust community. So there you go, VS Code, very handy tool. There's a lot more things that this tool can do, but this is the tool that I'd recommend for you to download. And again, these tools might change. Today it's February 21st in 2022. It could be in 1 year. There's a tool that's free. That's out there. And by the way, this tool is free. All the tools that I'm showing you are free. Okay, so the third tool that I'd like to show you is UIKit. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the home page. So UIKit, they claim it's a lightweight modular front-end developer framework for developing fast and powerful web interfaces. I think some of the most popular CSS frameworks are Bootstrap and Foundation. And one thing that's good about anything that's popular is the community is going to be larger. But I don't particularly like those frameworks because they're very hard to overwrite. So they may have styles on them. And if you want to get rid of their border size, their colors, it takes a lot more work in those frameworks because I feel like they've been written a little bit too prescriptively. So I feel like UIKit kind of finds that sweet spot of something that's lightweight and it doesn't take a lot of work to override all the styles that they put from the default. And they really, I feel like whoever these authors were, they were a little bit more UX minded. They have a lot of experiential things such as animations and popular things such as a slider, .nav, various ways of formatting things. So they've really done it in a really good way. And I found that there's just a wealth of tools that I'm able to go ahead and find what I'm looking for. So this particular framework, the JS is 29.8 kilobytes, the CSS is 44.8, and the icons are 19 kilobytes. And so the whole framework weighs about 100 kilobytes. I can tell you that other frameworks, it's not uncommon for them to weigh 300 kilobytes. So anyways, it's a lightweight framework in terms of file size, but it also speaks that there's not too many things that I'm going to have to filter out. I don't have to wade and filter through so many things that I don't need that are not useful to me. So I definitely feel that there's a sweet spot. So running through a couple of things, just to give you an example of features that they have. Here's an accordion right out of the box. This is the icon that you would be getting, and you're able to kind of put in something, and there's these attributes, and you don't have to do any JavaScript. You just kind of put in these things, what they tell you to. You look up in the documentation on how this particular module is built. You copy and paste it. You put it in, and then you adapt it. You're going to end up probably saying, I want my border to be a little bit thicker, darker. I want a little bit more margin to be put in to match my brand. And that's the way these frameworks were designed for. They're just meant to be a starting point for you. So another example is a background. Well, they're giving you tools where you're able to kind of get some color backgrounds out of here. You're also able to take an image background and format it in a particular way. And so this is letting you know that this is where the background is just going to take up it's going to be called cover. It's going to take up the entire space and crop whatever is matched to the dimension, whether it be the width or the height, and it's going to crop out the dimension that is extending over. This is contained, and so you kind of see that there is this gray box over here. And so these are all tools that I'll use very frequently. This is where you can see the background is to the left. This is to the top right. This is to the top left. Give you another example. There's a .NET navigation, and this kind of shows you that it's got the animations. And so, the way this looks right now, this is if I'm working on a freelance project where there's not a lot of hours budgeted to it, I may not have to do really any customization at all. And I'll just say that white color looks just perfectly fine to me. The border of 1 pixel looks perfectly fine to me as well. So here's a grid. And so you kind of see you can have just choose margins. And a lot of times I'm in this mode. I just realized that this has got large margins, this has got medium margins, and I'm able to go ahead and build things. Most design is built off some kind of grid system. You have all this functionality. You're ready to go ahead again, copy and paste this code and kind of get started and start working on customized coding, more things like styles and branding and other things, so that you don't have to focus so much time on some very basic foundational pieces. Another kind of component I want to show you is this is a light box. and it's got various attributes that you can make it to be more of a fade effect. You can have it to be more of a scale effect. Okay. And here's an example of even YouTube being able to play right here.
If you ever try it, but
so there you go, right there. Couple of other things I'm going to show you is this tool has something that's called a slideshow. And this is something too. Frequently on a home page, you want to have a slider. I could, bring in that .nav over here, and then it gives me different ways for this to kind of animate between the different slides. This is a scale. It's called slide. This is fading. I use fade a lot. Okay, so they really thought about some experiences that right out of the box, they kind of work the way I'm already looking for. Sticky nav. So you kind of see once this gets to the top, it sticks. And there's also an attribute so that it disappears when it gets to a certain point. It gets, kind of saw that. So at a certain point it sticks, and then it goes away. And those are all attributes that it gives you instructions on how to work all that out. This is a tab nav system. Again, I would probably restylize these things. You got tool tips. This is a very frequent thing you hover over. Hello world. It's great. Even the positioning can be top, left, right. They've thought about a lot of these different things. You can even set the delay to be 500 milliseconds. Okay. And here's another one is width. This is really great. You're able to say, the width is going to be 1/2, or it's going to be 1/3, or it's going to be 2/3. And so you kind of see they're giving you an example. You just told it to be 1/3, 1/3, 1/2, 1/2, 1/4. So a lot of the frameworks have these same things, but again, UIKit's just a tool that I really find that it gets me closer to where I'm wanting to go, and it's not bloated. It has a lot of the things that I'm looking for right out of the box, yet without too much prescriptiveness or I don't want to be inundated with components that I'm never going to use in a million years. I can go to Google and find another component for that. So there you go. Those are the 3 tools to get you started with doing HTML and CSS. And one of the tools, Inspector, is a tool, even if you don't plan into getting into coding, this will be a tool that's going to be useful for you doing QA and just being able to look up specific attributes that are in the website. So anyways, I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to be producing some more specific coding videos in the future. So anyways, I appreciate you sticking with me. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like. And if you'd like to subscribe to this video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. If I get 100 subscribers, I will get a sort of a custom URL at YouTube. So that would be a big help to me. Anyways, I just want to say thank you for sticking with me, and I'll see you on the next episode.